Over the next few minutes, I'll share 5 of the best tips, 5 of the most interesting facts that you can use to improve your nature and wildlife photography, and they have nothing to do with your camera. And at the end, I'll share a bonus tip that you can use regardless of your camera setup. And the best place to learn is out here in the middle of it all. So let's get started. Well, the first fact to think about is that you're going to be here for a while. So get comfortable so that you're not hurting and you're not moving about just because you're trying to find a more comfortable spot. You can just sit and enjoy your surroundings. Think about if you're out to photograph wildlife, birds or animals, before you start hitting the shutter, just observe how the wildlife is moving either towards you or away or left to right, or are there patterns, especially with birds? Do you see that they're flying in patterns? They often do, and this will help you when you start to take your photos, anticipate where your subject is going to be. Begin by asking yourself, what am I wanting to photograph? Because the answer is important to the fact. If you're photographing landscapes or nature settings, then you're not concerned about scaring your subjects away. But you do need to consider things like, can I get enough light on the subject to capture its features? Or is it too much light that's blowing out the details? Am I focused on the interesting aspects of the scene? And am I able to avoid the distractions? Do the lines from the surrounding parts of the picture draw the eye's attention to the main subject? Is my shadow interfering with the photo? But if you're photographing wildlife, then you also need to consider the wind's direction. If you're upwind from your subjects, then they may smell you and stay away. So you try to get downwind where the wind is blowing in your face, if it's possible, or maybe a crosswind may be helpful to keep your scent from giving you away to the animals. Deer and elk, bears, other animals, they have a very strong sense of smell, and most have an internal fear of humans. Birds, on the other hand, are the opposite. They often fly into the wind to take off and to land, a lot like airplanes. So if you want to photograph birds flying towards you, then you position yourself upwind with the wind blowing on your back, so they'll be coming towards you. And these positions give you the greatest opportunity to be where you want to be, to have the chance for the shots that you want to take. The fourth fact is that you need to blend in to your surroundings. Camouflage yourself. Don't wear bright clothes, wear sort of subdued clothes. You don't have to wear camouflage. I mean, you can, and that's fine, but there's ways of doing that that can help you with your comfort and help you to observe what you're going to be photographing. To have something like this blind. This is actually a hunter's blind. It's a ground blind that allows me to set up in a wood line, and I blend in. I'm inside the blind so the animals aren't seeing me move about, and I can see out. And this blind in particular is pretty amazing. It allows me to see 270 degrees around me, and I can look right through the walls. It's sort of like looking through a screen door, but the animals can't look in and see me. Then I have these wide windows that open up, and you can open these up and on 3 sides. And it was designed, of course, for a hunter to put the barrel through, but for me, I just put the lens of my camera there, and I can have a wide field of view. A wide field of view is actually the 5th fact that I want to talk about. To make sure that you are able to get to see what you want. Now, I promised a bonus, and that is to be prepared. One of those things that I've learned over time. I take my camera and I do set it up to anticipate what I might encounter in a moment's notice. I typically will keep my shutter speed on about 1/1000. Keep the f-stop to f8 because that's sort of the best aperture for my lens. And then I will take and put the ISO on auto. And that way, if I see something, I can quickly raise my camera and take the shot. I have 3 zoom lenses, 2 that I interchange to keep on this camera. One is a Tamron 28 to 200 millimeter zoom. It's my go-to lens for just everyday photography. And then I also have this Tamron 18 millimeter to 300 millimeter zoom lens. And if I'm thinking about animals and tracking birds, I'll use this lens. This lens has internal stability as well as my camera body having internal stability in it for the sensor. And that helps me, especially on those long zoom reaches, to keep things stable. And then my favorite lens for animal and wildlife photography is this Sony 200 to 600 millimeter zoom lens. It's amazingly sharp. It works very well. Its one drawback is it is heavy. It's very heavy. I keep my camera set up for what I might encounter in a moment's notice. And then it's time to go home. And oftentimes the greatest surprise is when I do get home. Like these visitors that I had, I didn't know that they were even there. Put the trail camera's SD card in the computer to just see what it might have discovered. And these guys came around to play. I don't know if they didn't like the trail camera or if they just thought it was a great toy, but in any way, they had fun with it and I had fun watching them. I hope you do too. Take a look. This photography has changed me. It's allowed me to become more patient in all the different areas of my life. I loved hiking because I loved to see the beauty, but now I get to reminisce and looking at the photos, thinking back and reflecting on the beauties that I've seen. So there it is. You know, the 5 things is you need to get comfortable. You need to observe how the wildlife is moving about you. What are you going to photograph? And then prepare for that. Blend in to your surroundings, and finally watch for a good field of view. 5 things that don't even involve your camera. You can do this with any camera that you have in hand. Hope you found this beneficial. It's been fun to be out here in a new place, even though I really didn't see much animal life. I did have some visitors. Those raccoons were fun, but I didn't know that until I got back home and put the SD card in the computer and started to download it for this video. Until next time, stay safe, stay healthy, stay on the path, and God bless you.